our next WUSA board meeting. Woo! Today is curry day, so I'm excited.
Amusement.
But
Kids.
also, I got a nasty cold, so I'm gonna be muffled the entire time. Okay. Territorial acknowledgement. The Board of Directors acknowledges the University of Waterloo is on the traditional territory of the Ottawadoran, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our organization operates on the Haldimand Tract, land promised to the Six Nations, which includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. We have quite a number of minutes to deal with, including last month, which is the normal one, but then also from December and January, which is much more challenging for me to deal with. So I assume you want to talk about this. What's up?
No. What happened to the student story? Are we still doing that?
Oh, do you have a student story?
No.
Okay.
Just curious because it's missing.
There's a student story there?
No.
Oh, never mind. I'm not
Sorry. Talk about minutes because it's a little bit weird. Sorry. Ooh. Does anybody have anything specific to say about the minutes, particularly about the ones that are old and therefore I have no way of checking?
I don't remember.
I'm mostly looking at returning numbers.
Are these the ones that like Jeff called out weren't?
This is some of them.
I know the backstory. I just talked to Rory today. It's just because Mike went on leave and Matthew Schwartz, who was the governance manager at the time, didn't know all the stuff of what to do. So that's the reason it wasn't approved. So that's it. Yeah.
I guess. Are you ready to take vote on minutes? Nobody has anything else to say, and it's difficult for many of us to know if there's anything wrong anyways.
Nothing except thanks to Marvin.
Hey, it's Jeff.
There we go.
Hi, Jeff. We're talking about the minutes from December and January, and also technically June, but I think June is the normal one. So, welcome. Do you have any commentary about minutes approvals from December and January? Aria briefly mentioned that former governance manager Matthew Nicholas Schwartz did not complete all the steps that Mike normally would do, which is why they're delayed. Yeah. Any comments on that before we take a vote for the minutes, Jeff?
None except the thank you to Mike and Marvin.
Okay, very good. Let's start with all against the approval of the minutes. And then all abstentions for the approval of minutes. And then all for the approval of the minutes. So we have almost unanimous, I think. I have to wait for online stuff. Sorry. The online process, it's always a little bit slower. Let me split my screens so I can see both those at once. It's probably okay if you want to put your hand down, Alex. Online, 4. Yeah. We should have Jeff. Okay.
Sorry, never mind. We are doing without.
Yeah, I just needed to check. And then Mary Cheney, what was your vote? It's Jay. Mary Cheney, are you here? It doesn't change the outcome of the vote, but just to be polite, we're just doing minute approval there.
Sorry, I
okay.
didn't get that. I think it was cutting out initially. What was the vote for?
Oh, approving 3 sets of minutes, 2 of which were from last year, 1 of which was last meeting.
Yeah, fair.
Cool. Okay, those pass fairly easily. The agenda approval. Okay. I present the following agenda to be approved. This is a section which is a little bit fun because I'm also going to ask for a agenda amendment. Because we've had a request both to move the confidential session up to immediately after the consent section, just because we have a guest today from student price card, that's what it's called, SPC. But then also to, correct me if I'm wrong, move the annual plan section out of confidential. Because that aspect does not contain information that at this point would be considered privileged. It's just, it was there temporarily. Now it's ready to be in the public. Any discussion on my motion to amend the agenda? Could I ask for all votes against the agenda change?
I have a,
Oh, okay.
I want to move, yes, sorry, as you mentioned, like the number 4, unfinished business, the confidential section. You said what remains to start the confidential section, confidential section.
So you wanted to move the sections, and
Election.
you when we are doing votes, those would require to be, they can be secret, but they have to, like, approval has to happen. Like, all right.
What means the discussion should be confidential.
Okay, we can take a vote on that in a second. Okay, do step 1, which is putting confidential before the rest of the agenda so that we can have our guest from Student Price quickly, and also pulling the approval of the annual plan out of confidential to be tacked on to the end of business. So just that section. How are people feeling on that? Can I get votes against my first motion? Which is moving annual plan into normal and confidential to the start so that we can get our student choice person home faster. Okay, votes against? Abstentions? And votes for that change. The online section is fun. I don't know how Jeff or okay. So not exactly clear how Jeff is voting, but we'll see in a second. Okay. And then Jay, you're asking to immediately move
Item
4, the unfinished business.
Item discussion item 3, subsection A, interaction session by Pat.
You want the section by Pat,
Is a confidential.
but not the unfinished business portion?
It should be both.
You're gonna ask for both.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask for both. Currently, it's just item with an employer, it's not in the confidential
That's
section.
fine.
I see what you're looking at.
3A,
Okay.
interaction session by Pat, lawyer, director of decision making.
See.
It's not in confidential. Okay, then I think we should, 15 minutes.
And then
And subsequently.
you're also doing
4A.
sorry, I guess 4 is
4A, elections of referendum companies, the board refers recommended petition question back to committee, blah, 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 yes.
okay.
4A, yes.
Okay. So okay. Of course, I never love having things confidential, but let's take a vote. All votes for. I'm counting. Okay, almost everybody. All votes abstaining. And all votes against, which is me. And Jeff. Okay, so that does pass. We'll throw that at the end of the confidential section. Okay, cool. That's the agenda approval. Okay, let's approve now the whole agenda as amended. All for the approval of the agenda as amended. Okay. Wait for the online possibility. Always a fun one. All right. Yeah. All abstentions. And any votes against approving the agenda as amended? Okay, let's move on to conflict of interest declaration. Does anyone have any pecuniary conflicts to which they must declare or other related problems to deal with?
Yeah, so I wanted to update you guys on the bias that I declared last time because I was doing communications for Occupy Waterloo. So since then, there has been a lawsuit, as you guys probably know. A notice of discontinuance has been served for that lawsuit. Any mediations that were going on during that process had ended. And as you guys also probably know, the encampment has disbanded. So my bias no longer stands, and I wanted to make all of you aware of that. I am able to continue doing my WUSA director duties unhindered. So
Cool. Any other conflicts or changes in conflict? I mean, I guess the obvious one is we're talking about UPass later, and we all have UPass, but that is not necessarily pecuniary. It's just the way that strategic stuff works. So keep that in mind, but like, you know, it's not a special pecuniary. It's an everybody wins situation. So, and then I'm seeing none online. So let's move to the consent agenda, which are some committee things. Generally, they're the more boring ones.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah, I know one of your motions is in there, but it's just updating. It's just updates, man. Anything to pull out of the consent agenda before we vote on it? Okay. Then we'll take the vote on the consent agenda. All in favor of the consent agenda? And we don't quite have unanimous. Maricini, how are you voting today?
Maybe yes, maybe not.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Did you say my name?
Yes.
Sorry.
What's
I'm multitasking. Sorry.
consent agenda, Maricini?
Oh, good, I think.
All right, unanimous. Done. Okay. Then, based off of the structure that we've changed for the agenda, we're going to go to confidential. And that starts with Naya. But before we let her in, Prashant has asked to speak for a second to give us a bit of a background, I suppose. But
Yeah,
let's move
that's
to confidential, Mike, and we'll kick right out.
See you later, man.
And then we'll get. I'm going to assume that Kumar, you Okay. Yay. Welcome back to public session. I think I'm supposed to produce the results of votes that happened during the confidential session. Is that correct? Or is that during the notice of the motion? Oh, we're supposed to, after confidential session, release the results of votes, but not the discussion, correct? Okay, so for those of you joining us, which literally the only person that possibly could be is Nush, what happened in confidential section? The operating budget was approved for the year. The unfinished business related to elections and referenda was approved. The timeline was updated, and that will be made more obvious in the future. Was there anything else in confidential session that had a decision related to it? There is the ERC, referenda questions and timeline, and the operating budget. Those are the two decision items. There you go. Good luck to Chevin with your midterm. Okay. We did consent agenda first, so that's done. New business. I'll read this out. Okay, I'll skip over sections, but I'll be rough. This was originally intended to be part of the consent agenda, but it is about the, I guess, formalization of how SLEP is currently operating as a standing committee of WUSA, because it still needs to be staffed, but this was the recommendation for the structure, where, yeah, so be it further resolved that we appoint 3 people. This part is not new to SLEP directorship. And then the newer part is the creation of the interim fund committee to handle the job until we get around to having the university update the SLEP documents with the names listed. Do we have any discussion on item 5A? Jeff isn't here, but I'm sure he would.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh, Jeff is back. Hi, Jeff. Do you have anything to say about creation of ad hoc student life endowment fund funding committee, and appointment of membership to SLEP board of directors? SLEP.
Is there a question? Actually, if Suzanne wants to go first.
Yes. Hi.
I'm just wondering if it would be amenable to add to the committee of staff members, so like either executive director and or designate. I think that's been the...
For the first 3, that's something that's structured by SLEP already.
Okay, sorry, I meant the next piece.
And then the next section is reflecting the changes that we've asked for. So the idea being that this is already the structure that we're waiting for UW approval for. This already reflects that.
The structure currently that there isn't a staff.
If I can jump in real quick.
But Jeff, go ahead.
Suzanne is just asking for us to explicitly add resource members to the fund committee, which I'm fully for. In the actual draft documents, I guess, of the committee, it does actually. I think Nick wrote up terms of reference. We can add it there, but in the actual draft bylaws of SLEF, that is explicitly in there, I believe.
Okay.
To just give some context on this motion, we've been doing SLEF kind of anyways without anything official. This is just like a motion, so we're not just doing it, which we can do, but give it a bit more structure as we continue to ask the university for feedback.
That's good. Let's do that.
Sorry. So, okay, cool. Sure. For the second one, we'd like a designate to sit there. Is that correct?
Just add the ED, or designate as a non-voting resource member.
Okay. Jeff, we wrote this together. If you find it friendly, I'll find it friendly, and we can move on. Jeff is giving a thumbs up.
Was always the intent.
Marvin, you had a POI 2 minutes ago, and I missed it. I'm sorry. What's up?
It has been resolved now. I was just going to point out that, just point out what has been resolved. So we're good.
Okay. Any further comments on SLEF? Seeing none, let's take a vote. All in favor of the motion with the friendly amendment as presented? Okay, and we have Jeff is the only one online now. That's very fun. Abstentions? Just me. And are there any against? Okay, seeing none, that motion has passed, and we come to decision item GRT UPass extension agreement.
Just ask. Can Britta come back in?
Yeah. Has you just been standing there?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel so bad.
It's over.
It's over.
It's been there like 3.5 hours.
It's not really worth our time to find him, I'm not gonna lie, but if he's there, he could.
Okay, it's like a minute, Ariane. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I think it's just.
Yeah, large size.
We need to figure the score.
He's just so ready.
He's committed. I have 3 boards, and I said, that's what I'm saying, like, just.
He died.
Yeah, maybe he left.
Okay.
He was
There
me
you go.
for a while.
I guess he left because we took 3 hours. Sweet. Oh, sorry. Yay. Okay, GRT item. Michael. Oh. Different. Okay, you have a question.
I haven't mostly resolved. I'm assuming that they're not gonna increase the fee into these 2 years, right? Are they gonna increase it by CPI, like by inflation alone? That's my only concern. Yeah, inflation would have been.
But they're gonna keep it the same for 2026, 2027?
What gonna do? No. 5%.
Oh, yeah.
Increase. 2 years, 10%.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Not great, but it's okay.
It's much worse than we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Matthew,
It's 10% more, so.
your result? That's not how that works.
Okay. If we did end up getting some kind of sort of refund mechanism from GRT, with the current 2% strike contingency fund thing we have, would we just like give that back to students or repurpose it or?
I'd like to speak to this, or else it's too fast. So I don't love it, particularly because they in the past have been very explicit that it was up to 5%, and now maintaining it at 5% is exponentiation that we did not necessarily agree to when we started the agreement. So locking us into 2 years at a higher rate than we were before feels a bit disingenuous. The fact that it is 2 years makes me more comfortable. I would prefer if we were able to say up to 5%, as opposed to saying strictly 5%, because 5% is the limit that was set by the city council, correct? And the GRT is asking for the maximum for both years right now. I don't hate part two, even though we save enough that it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Could we? Are they going to budge on the 5%? I guess is my question. All right.
I'll be honest, I don't think they're gonna budge on the 5%. Just, I think operating costs have gone up for them. Inflation has gone through the roof. Let's not kid ourselves. But Nick, if we say up to 5%, what's stopping them from just going all the way up to 5% anyway? Like, what's the difference in the wording? I think they're just gonna be charging 5% no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess the only thing I'd like to say here is approve that you guys can agree to 5%, but please ask for less than that would be what I would hope for.
You just tell me.
Yeah.
I think we should just vote now. I think there's not much we can debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our strategy then. Well, they know once satisfied, at least.
Yeah, we're allowing you, we're not forcing you to agree to it. So, cool. And that should be clear that you're allowed to, we're not requiring you to.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, any more comments on GRT? You pass. Which is eventually, no? Okay.
We're trusting this onto the ED.
We're entrusting this onto the ED. Emma.
Can I ask?
And
I know Arya brought up the question of what's making them stop just charging 5%. What has made them stop so far?
They had a 3% year over year, and then they had a 2% emergency thing that they could get by the city approving it.
So
But the city has now approved them to always ask for 5. Is that happening with that?
It's just because overheads have increased.
So they've done 2 a bunch. And I think they're trying to make us have the bad deal that Conestoga got by being slow.
That's something.
That's true. Yeah. The city is trying to downsize when it probably shouldn't be. Okay, are we ready for the vote? Anybody else have comments? Okay, seeing none. All against the approval. All abstentions. Check it, Jeff. And all for approval. The motion carries. Our last one. I think. Sorry, over. Okay. I think our last one for the day is annual plan. Is that right? Do we have anything more?
You have our reports. My report, I'm not gonna do it. Just read it.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna be like, here's my report. Read it if you want. So,
Awesome.
yeah, the last thing we have is annual plan. Is that correct?
I think so.
I think so too.
Okay. Well then, do people have things to say about the annual plan? Teresa.
I have a couple things, but I'll go by topic. So I just want to highlight for everybody in the advocacy priorities for the year, because we already have 6, we need to replace one if we'd like to add co-op as a priority for the term. And so the only bullet that I saw under co-op was co-op timelines, which is definitely something that we should get research going on. But I did think, because we know that CEE has been rolling out, will continue to roll out quite a few changes for the term. If the board sees any utility in perhaps broadening the wording of that bullet point, or perhaps adding another point that more broadly refers to general student protections co-op, I don't know, workshop the wording. You guys understand what I'm getting at.
Melissa.
Thanks. I would just say to that, Teresa, that sorry, my headset microphone is up. Starting to lose it a bit over here. I would just say to that point that we certainly can add other pieces, but the more additional things we would add under co-op, then I think the more things in other areas we need to look at taking off. So the advocacy priority section is already quite large, as you can see, and doesn't necessarily encompass also all the regular things the department, works on ongoing or that could come up. So if we want co-op, I only added the research piece we kind of had talked about at the last meeting, and I know you've chatted with Andrina a little bit about since. If we do want to add more under that category, I think we then need to, again, just consider how much we're taking off in other places. And so if there's other priority pieces to that, certainly we can, but that would then be the offset.
Reasoning. But cool.
Yeah, not, I guess, tangentially related. When I was looking through the other advocacy priorities at current, I had questions about the self-advocacy priority, because I did notice it had significantly less stuffing than the other stances, priorities. I just wanted to get a better understanding of where exactly this priority is coming from, what work have we put into it in the past, specifically with the pitch competition, like just get a better idea of like where this is coming from and what the student need was there. If anyone on board or staff has any context.
Sure.
Since we're I float it because I know that we would have to replace one of the priorities, I guess, for co-op. So.
Sure, and I think Jeff did ask this question in the sessions as well, and so I think there is an answer to it in the document. No, that's okay. So I think generally, and I know Andrina spoke to it in the first session, is that we get a lot of students reaching out to us about a lot of different advocacy initiatives, as I'm sure you folks can imagine, because all students have different things that matter to them, different causes or different advocacy priorities that they would like to see move forward, all with, merit and importance and a subsection of folks that would really benefit from work in those areas. But as you all know, by having to prioritize certain amounts of work, is that we can't take all of those different things on. So we've had a number of conversations over the last 2 years as the department continues to grow, is how do we help students and support more of that grassroots and sort of self-advocacy work that folks want to do that we can't necessarily take on, because potentially the the priority of it or the percentage of the masses or where our long range plan priorities are at just doesn't allow us to go down those different paths. So wanting to still though be able to create a resource and have different ways that we can support students in those ways, be able to give them access to resources, suggestions, channels that are out there that they can move that work forward, as well as, and this is sort of where the advocacy pitch competition idea has come up and was budgeted for last year, specifically an idea from Jill Knight is having the opportunity for students to bring those bigger things forward and for us to help fund them, but also help to provide a staff member who can help them work through the channels, know the contacts and that kind of thing. So that's sort of the broad reasoning behind it, is just the amount that's out there and us wanting to give students every opportunity to be able to do that work and bring those ideas forward. This is sort of another way that we can empower students to do that work and support them the best we can without being able to take on every certain initiative.
It's cool if I just like talk, Nick, because this is.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are bouncing back and forth.
So yeah, the way where I'm at with co-op right now is, like I know I yak a lot about co-op at board meetings, but basically it's just like, especially with the motion that was passed at the last board meeting, we have a lot of potential to do a lot of great research and do a lot of great advocacy on WUSA's end and kind of pick up the slack where CE has kind of shifted their focus away from, which is why I feel pretty strongly about ensuring that co-op is a priority in terms of our advocacy priorities for the year. Making sure that we have our bases covered, especially in the event, like, as I'm sure you guys are aware already, like CE has the power and has shown that they will use the power to bring about changes very, very quickly. We saw that the renege changes in spring 2023. And now again, obviously a less contentious change, but we're seeing very, very quickly the co-op advisory changes coming in fall 24. So I just really want to be sure that board is prepared to advocate and move on our feet from a generative policy perspective, and not so much having to scramble retroactively, similar to what we saw with the renege consequences. So I guess I'm just trying to see where board is at in terms of where a priority you might want to replace, or are we limited to just 6, Melissa?
I would say our capacity right now already at 6 is quite stretched. So to add anything, which is where that 7th came in, was already feeling like it was tight. I think ideally we would have liked to come down from 6. And so I would say yes, capacity wise, something is probably got to give in order to continue to be able to do a good job, a strong job at the other pieces.
For sure.
I'm going to ask a question if you don't mind. So Teresa, what are you looking to do in particular with co-op? What type of research, just to get a sense of where we can squeeze this in? I work very closely with our advocacy team, and I know exactly like the agenda we have set up of what they're looking to do this year. So what's your idea of if we're going to be doing research? What are you looking at exactly?
Ideally broad strokes, student employee protections, or sorry, student intern protections, right, and student transparency.
But those are like major research projects where you're surveying like 600 students or something, or you're running focus groups and stuff. Or we're talking about something like this where it's intercepts, where you are a minor research project that takes less resources but still gives us data. If we do a major research project, it would mess us up a little because I just don't know where we're going to put it in. We're doing a sustainability one right now. That's one of the major research projects that's being pushed out, I think. They're doing a lot of it will push us off with our partners as well. If we do a major research project that's not any of these, and that causes some other issues.
Yeah,
the data I can deliver to them. Yeah.
Can I just? I know that Melissa and I were talking about like this decision that board needed to make, and Melissa had put sort of some points together to let everyone know where those other priorities are at. Like, have they already been started? What resources are being used? How would it impact potentially partnerships with development? So that you folks have that information as you're trying to figure out which 6 make the most sense for us to move forward. So I don't know, Melissa, whether that might be something you might want to share with everybody as we continue. I don't know if there's other questions in different areas, but I know this is one of the biggest ones for us, for you folks to figure out.
Yeah, I definitely can. I was also just trying to look, because we didn't have an opportunity to chat about this at the pre-sessions. I could have made sure to have them available, but we also did, like last year and at the end of the year, we asked students what were the biggest things they wanted to see us focus on. And so I know that was part of also the recommendations that we brought forward, is what we heard those priority areas were from students and kind of the different themes in that. And co-op did not rise to the top of those. So I was trying to see if I could find that particular one. We've had so many numbers of RSPs and I have so many docs, and I'm hot spotted all day because my internet line got cut. So we don't have that as well, but I can show you the document Suzanne's talking about in terms of like what's already in progress and what things within the plan would sort of be, have not started yet or would have a lower impact to the change in things. But I definitely have some different research that we have done over the past year or so, asking students what are the most important things to them. And co-op did not specifically rise to the top in any of the recent ones we've done, at least from like a major, any particular concern perspective. So just to note that in general, and then I'll see if I can find anything else on it before we wrap up. Let's see. Can you folks see my screen? Yep. Okay. Slideshow. It's just 3 slides, so don't fret that it's a slideshow. As everyone's at 10 to 10 fearful. So some of the things that I just want to let you know are already in progress, dealing with some of the key areas that were outlined in that advocacy priorities doc. Work on the red zone project that we've been doing for the last year and a half. We have been working on that self-advocacy resource, as well as starting ideas and outline for the Advo pitch competition, which is almost in a spot to sort of bring forward to the officers to share more and get feedback on. Our APS collaborative, gender affirming care work, obviously, that Nick's mentioned and is moving forward. We're working with the TAP office on a student course perception survey, blue ribbon response paper, a mental health presenter, Jack box or Jack presentation for the fall, looking at expansion opportunities for the housing playbook, as well as the sustainable menstruation product initiative. So those are things that have been going or ongoing or have started already that work has gone into, so that you folks sort of know that, again, if we were to make a major decision to change some of these areas that have already been prioritized and work is happening, there would be hours and time and resources lost sort of within that. In terms of some things that are on that list that we could consider removing that have lower impact to current projects or work that's already been defined, we mentioned within wellness, the movement campaign and an update, newer version to our wellness booklet from last year. Some advocacy pieces that have come from some of our recent research. So advocating to the university to enhance opportunities for students to build better relationships with faculty and instructors, more awareness to local opportunities for students to get involved in the broader community, providing resources to students on budgeting and how to spend their money effectively. Advocating for equitable international student tuition fees. So depending on where things go with the international student tuition stance, which I know is still with APC and did not get finalized last term, depending on how that gets prioritized this year. If it isn't, then we could look to move that work. Researching gaps faced by students with a focus on rental conditions and landlord issues. Exploring awareness and usage of MATES use among students, and the Walk Safe investigation. And so, as a note here, the reason that I highlighted these 3 is that they are all research. So if we are looking to add the co-op research or other co-op or other research elements, then it would likely make the most sense that we remove at least one research piece that's within the plan, as that team is already scheduled out and at capacity in terms of their planning for the year. So it was likely we should look to remove something from this list if we are looking to add more research initiatives to the table. And so that is sort of a highlight for me of the things that are in progress and are are currently happening, and then some of the things that we're suggesting based on the priority areas, but that could more easily and at a lower impact be removed from the list. So just to help you think about that as you go through, obviously, if there's other things in there that you feel like have a lower impact but are in progress, we can take a look at what it means to adjust those, but work will have already been put in. Any questions about those, or anyone want to see either of those slides again?
Excuse me. I guess I did want to ask, so not all of these are the same size.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's just one of those things where it's the comprehensive list. I guess my other question is, we do have board members. I know we're not really supposed to be operational, but we could throw board members at doing research.
We have PhD people doing research. Like, that's a big difference between someone that's finished undergrad versus PhD. You can try what I mean.
I mean, look at resources. It's an option.
I have a solution.
You could have your cake eat it too. You could earn your $1,000.
No, okay. Nick, you want me to go?
Sorry, I was just being cheap.
If we're going to remove two things, and let me tell you, whenever we remove some work, you're going to die because that gets set on co-op. I would say the mates one. Actually, Mercer, you can bring that PowerPoint back, please. I'm just going to go over and try to figure out what is the easiest thing to cut here to make it work. I do not want to be happy. What we're going to do, what we're going to do. I think exploring how awareness and uses of mates among students can be enhanced. We can cut that one. I don't think much work has gone into it to begin with, actually, currently. So that would probably be a little bit of a less flow. Something has to come up, right? I don't know. And if you go one PowerPoint back, help me unmute it, Moses. The movement campaign, Wayland's booklet 2 as well. We can, I would say maybe we want to move that one as well if you guys are really, but I think outside of those two, like don't hit anything big. Don't hit sustainability, don't hit the comprehensive stuff that they're going to do surveys on. Don't hit any big research projects that they have really put a lot of energy into. That's would be my recommendation. If you guys want to cut two things, that would be the choice.
Also was implying really we should focus on one of the research things, though, correct?
I know, but I think I'm just trying to give you as much legroom as possible if you really want to focus on core. The research thing, I'll say the mates one. I
do kind of agree there. That of those ones, I feel like mates is the least time sensitive.
Yeah. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, because walk safe and do I want to?
Yeah, no one else is in order. It's fine.
Yeah, so especially with walk safe, I feel very, very relevant still a year out of the UD Hall attack. And with the rental conditions and other issues, we're seeing the housing battle review happening right now, or soon. So it feels like that's not something that we should abandon on the WUSA side of things. So we continue to bring relevant data to the conversations during those consultations.
Melissa, how much of the mates thing has been, I don't think much has been put into it, right? You want a green?
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry. No, we haven't started anything specifically on that. So that's one of the reasons that one's on this list. So that can certainly be removed. It's just obviously in the conversation around mental health and students looking for that support, and depending on those who can and can't get into counseling services. Again, I believe I understand, at least at present, that wait time is significantly reduced from what it's been in the past. So, but we have not gotten started on that at this point.
I would really recommend that we replace that protocol. Yeah. That's the best, least damaging thing we can do. Doesn't mean that we can't focus on mental health. Doesn't mean that.
I think we should focus on mental unwellness. Really just start exclusively playing Sofia Coppola films. SLC.
That would increase my mental wellness, actually, Nick. You don't know how much
everybody else will be feeling more worse.
And so then I would just note in that then as well from a mental wellness is that both of those ones that we removed are connected to mental wellness. the wellness booklet and mates. So just
Okay, it just gets read by years. 2024.
Just as a general note.
Here, being unwell. So it's not that big of a deal.
It's summer.
It's not a big deal.
At the end of the day, it's like especially after spring 23, I'm quite scared of CE.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that we have our bases covered, and we should hopefully nothing happens, but should things go awry.
So what is your wording? When we remove that, what is the wording of what we're adopting exactly?
Hoping you guys can help me because I'm really tired.
I don't know what you want to look into specifically. I really don't
Have
know.
the priorities and then maybe.
Yeah, I think it would be great to workshop it
As long as you've got the areas
Yeah.
and stuff, I think we're good to, as long as we know which priorities are being removed, which ones being added, we can sort of.
To move things along, someone can make a motion in a second or two.
You need to make this one.
I'd like to motion to, wait, what did we say we were going to replace?
What's that word called?
Mates.
The main?
Next one?
And the wellness booklet, remove those two and add, and then.
But those aren't advocacy priorities necessarily, right? They're just like research projects that we're undertaking. So we wouldn't actually be taking out any research priority.
Well, that would.
But we also be, one of those is a research priority, yes.
No, like in the advocacy priorities, because so
No,
what we were talking about was like there are 6 at current. Yeah. And if we're not actually taking out any advocacy
That doesn't
priorities, then it
fully-
makes it 7.
It doesn't
So-
fully, okay. Melissa,
My suggestion then might be to, since we're not removing an entire area, but removing elements, would be to probably deprioritize the wellness category as the pieces that we are taking out are within that. So we're not so we would move that down to number 7. We would remove the 2 specific pieces that you had in it, and that if options come up where we are needing to focus our priorities higher on that list, those wellness ones are moving more to the bottom, and co-op, etc., the ones above, because we talked about those being in priority order, so that if we have to make decisions about time and resources and dollars, that we would prioritize according to the order of the list. So I think the order of the list then matters in this case. So to decide where co-op fits in that order, and so we wouldn't actually be taking one off, we would be reordering and then removing those specific tactics or projects within those priority areas.
Yeah, that sounds fine with me. I don't know, everybody else is cool with that.
can you make a motion that I can write down?
Yeah, I'd like to motion to remove the prioritization of the wellness, the wellness booklet and the MATES research from our advocacy priorities at current, and add co-op as an advocacy priority with its specifics to be workshopped outside of this board meeting.
Okay, do you want to vote on the amendment? All against the amendment as presented.
Sorry. Aren't we just reordering?
Right, it's Tempio. I'm sorry, Jay.
No worries. Aren't we just reordering I thought we were moving the order of the categories, not.
Oh yeah, sorry, the order. Sorry. And Melissa, sorry.
Edit that.
That's fine. All right, let's keep going.
So you're gonna change the order, but then you're also gonna remove the 2 particular line items.
Here's yours. Cool. Sorry, what's order is being changed to what?
Mental health.
Last. It's okay, so I'll do it for you. Well, I'll do it on the other end. It's cool.
Those 2 last.
So let's get shuffled to 7.
Okay. Discussion on Teresa's motion. Amendment to motion. Okay, Teresa.
I'm sorry, because I just don't want to leave board in the dark, because like I said, like, oh, we're outside of the meeting, but like just to give you guys like some big picture stuff like information transparency with regards to salary and rankings. That's things that we're hoping to look at that CED hasn't really followed up much on in the past year. And then things as well like intern protections. The scope of these things, again, like as Aria noted, like that's something that we have to work out. I'm not particularly too married to any size of the research, mostly because I just don't know enough, I guess, but that would be workshops out of me. But just to give you an idea of the topics that we would hope to pursue here.
Cool. Awesome. Any further discussion on Teresa's motion? Give you a second, because you are in the midst of thinking there, Alex.
I think I don't have any.
You think you have anything? Cool. Then let's vote on Teresa's motion. And let's start fun with abstains. It's Aria abstaining. Wow, so fun. How about against? And then 4 should be everybody else.
All right, bro. All right, bro. I'm taking it personal.
No, abstain is supposed to be the one you don't take.
Oh, I'm taking it. Yo, in the parking lot, you're coasting.
Priorities have been shuffled slightly. We're back to the main motion. Any discussion about the annual plan before we vote on it? Teresa.
Just gonna throw this out there for if anybody wants to bite. I was hoping to see some stuff about student spaces, third places. I guess I don't know where this would go, and then transit advocacy.
And
that was
can
like,
I do a little bit of a response to you?
I'm just throwing these out there. Like,
Part of
you
this-
commit what you will.
Part of this is long range plan, as opposed to annual plan. At least like transit.
Transit, yeah.
Transit at least is long range plan, not annual plan.
Third places.
Third places.
Can I speak to that?
Okay, Alex, you give it a shot. And then we'll have Jeff after you. Yes.
Kumar and I had 2 chats, I think, scattered around, and it will be something that that will come to board to shop around, and then extend from there. When you say study spaces, if you mean by like including study spaces, I think that would fit into like a long range thing because we
I meant mostly transit, but yeah.
create physically study spaces, but specifically regarding hours, which ties back to the whole Instagram thing, is going to come around for a little bit of discussion between board members, and then we'll go out from there. And I don't think it's going to take up any side communications thing whatsoever, because we've established we do not have the room.
Wow.
Sorry, I was referring more to like third places on campus, not necessarily like study spaces, but like convivial areas.
I think we can.
Is that LRP
Maybe-
more for you? Sorry, Jeff has his hand up, by the way.
Yeah, group study sort of thing. Jeff.
Sorry, no, we can. It's a new point.
Yep. Jeff.
I didn't realize this conversation wrapped up. I wanted to ask about the. I wanted a question for Suzanne regarding the budget report. Would that need to be on the annual plan for resources, or the budget report I asked about in the Q&A?
Yeah,
I
and
guess initiatives along that.
If you want to talk offline, I'm happy to chat with you about what that could potentially look like, but I don't think it should be on the plan because I can't commit to being able to do it. But I'd like to at least talk to you about what you're thinking about, and maybe there's sort of maybe a middle ground or something that we can do for this year. Otherwise, it'll have to wait till next year.
Thanks.
Okay.
Unless anyone else has any new points, I'll bring up a second, I guess.
That's
I
fine,
think
Jeff.
once I guess the team has had some time to flesh out some of the implementation details, would it be possible for the board to get a sense of I guess even just relative to each other, how much effort is being put into different initiatives in a few months, once that goes, just so I guess the board has a better idea of like which topics are being a better sense of what the organization is doing, since not all of these points are equal to each other in terms of effort.
Okay. I think that we can probably give you some broad estimates if that's good for you. I'm not sure. I don't know whether folks would want us to be tracking the time that we spend on each one.
No, nothing so granular. Like
okay, so
even just
okay.
like a 1 to 5 scale.
There are one or two things there that, I mean, even if we just want to meet me and you, Jeff, I do talk to Andrea plenty. I can at least give you a sort of relative, what's the format for coding? Agile? Sort of like 1-2-5 situation going on there?
Huh.
So yeah, but I concur with Suzanne that I don't want to start tracking people's hours on each individual topic.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's just sort of to help us understand like how much is being put in different areas, and
I don't mind
in hopes of
over that. I guess I can try and start that process
in hopes of setting us up for the future as well.
Okay. We're back to the top of the speaking order.
No one, right?
Does anyone have any more questions about the annual plan? We did the job we had to for reordering things. We're allowed to vote on it now. Okay, let's vote. And mostly, yeah, let's start with against the annual plan. Then let's do abstains for the annual plan. Okay. And for the annual plan.
Let's do it, people.
Wow.
We're gonna figure something out.
Everybody except for Jeff. Yeah, for Jeff.
I'm down for my monthly. Honestly,
I'm not looking for it. I'm actually not looking for it.
Okay, Jeff's fine. Cool. Is everybody okay if we skip reports and you can read them? I have a slideshow with pretty pictures of farms. That is the only thing I will highlight. Okay, have we exhausted the agenda finally? Officer reports, public director report, notice of motion. We did the annual plan, we did the operating budget, no announcements, adjournment. Okay, anybody against adjournment? I am.
Yeah, we're not at midnight yet. How are we gonna get on Matthew with you?
Problem. All right, God bless.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Bless your hearts. Oh, I'm gonna post a thing for next restaurant, for next board meeting. Okay.